there, this is Steve Hackett. You're on the All Over the Place podcast where the fun sanity never ends.
You should get a CD and a vinyl so you can listen to them both from how I've explained it to you.
Well, there's one problem with that, Mo. I don't have a functioning CD player anymore. Hello and welcome back to All Over the Place. This is your host, Eric Pervasic, and thanks everyone for tuning in or watching, whatever you're doing on YouTube, Spotify, whatever audio podcast platform you're listening. We appreciate that. And going to bring Jim in. We got a hot show to get to. Got to bring stepping it up here right now. Jim,
that's right. We got to jump into this.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, hey, I just want to thank everybody, as always, for that we've got a lot of new subscribers this week. Thank you, everybody, for sharing, subscribing, liking. It all is appreciated, and it leads to things like this where we are going to be bringing in some more legendary bands. And today, that includes from the band Nektar, we've got Mo Moore, bass and vocals. How you doing there, Mo?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
I'm liking that Yankee shirt. You may be able to see up here. I've got a Thurman Munson bobblehead up there somewhere. So
I thought about not wearing this, but it's a Yankee day today.
And, you know, I'm an Indians guy or a Guardians, whatever they want to call it. We're heading towards playoff baseball. I get it.
It's baseball, man. That's baseball.
Oh, Jim, we better watch it because as much as I know about music, actually I know more about music, but we could do baseball rabbit hole forever too. And also joining us from Nektar, we've got Ryche Chlanda Maryann Castello. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Nice seeing you.
Well, thanks again for joining us here on All Over the Place. And we're just going to jump right in because you've got a new album out, Mission to Mars. And, you know, Derek, when you were putting the album together, what inspired you to be putting out what is turning into the first of a series of 3 albums?
Well, it just grew, you know. Rich and I started writing this about 3 years ago. And out of the blue came into my head Mission to Mars, and he right away loved it and said, let's make that the theme. So about partway through, we got all the music. We've not got all the lyrics yet. And we said, let's make that the theme, Mission to Mars. So we completed the album, which has 4 songs on it. It has Mission to Mars, and then it has Long Lost Sunday, and One Day High, One Day Low, and I'll Take You In. It's 4 songs. And we have others that we've been working on. And we decided we'd do a trilogy. We just threw our hat in the ring and said, yeah, we're going to do a trilogy. So here we are in the middle of it.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And also being a vinyl guy, and I like the fact you've got just 2 songs on the front side, flip it over, you got 2 songs on the back side.
Yeah.
How much, and with vinyl making a revival, did you have that in mind as you were putting the album together from a sonic standpoint?
I'm old school. So, yeah.
We are classic. We are not old school. We're classic.
Okay, we're classic. I've been doing vinyl for years and years. So when we have the album done, when we have the mix that we want, and we spend a lot of time getting the mix just right, and then we have it mastered in Australia, actually. Leon Zervas, who was with Sterling Sound in New York City, he was the head guy there. He moved to Australia, and we got hold of him through Joe DeMeo, who runs Surefire Studios, where we recorded all the basic tracks. And we have the CD and the vinyl mastered separately because you get a different feel with the CD than you do with the vinyl. Vinyl, you get a warmer sound, and the CD, they purposely leave out different frequencies because your ears put them back in again. But you can't do that with vinyl. Vinyl, it's either on the vinyl or it's not on the vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
And we kept the tracks down to about 16 minutes a side. So that gives you the maximum that you can, the maximum you can get with vinyl. Vinyl, you can go up to whatever you want, but as the more minutes you have, the less sound you've got. It gets very thin when you get over 20 minutes. So we wanted to have the maximum sound. We wanted to have a nice round bottom end and a nice round top end. And that we've achieved. It's very warm. There's lots of space, lots of air around each instrument. So when you're listening to it, you can go in and listen to it. For instance, you pick the bass up, you'll follow the bass through at least that track, if not through the whole album. Next time you listen to it, you might pick the guitar up. Or you might pick one or the other up and move from one to the other. But it means that every time you listen to it, it's going to be a little bit different.
And Rich, with that in mind, as the guitarist, how do you go about writing when you've got someone like Derek with that very prevalent bass going on?
Well, I'm the vocalist as well. Maryann supports me. So I come from a writing, just a writing background. And when Mo and I get together, the ideas just keep flowing. Interestingly enough, the first song, Mission to Mars, came from a bass riff that Mo used to play as sound check with Nektar in the 70s. And he's in my living room, and he's playing this. We're about to rehearse, I believe. And I said, wow, I like that. He says, well, I used to play this as a, as a sound check. And I said, let's make a song out of it. And we did. And that's how it started. So he inspires me to write. He has these little earworms that we call them, and we put them together, and it works. But as a songwriting team, him and I are just really with it together, very close with it.
We're the tick to the talk.
the riff to the non-raff. Gotcha.
We really write well together. We think along the same lines, and we bounce ideas. And they always get bounced right back, and you get a good feel for where you're going to be. We did a lot of it on Zoom because of the COVID. We're writing this through COVID. And every chance I get to go to New Jersey, I live in North Carolina. So every chance I get to go to New Jersey, they have a room for me there. And
the Mo Suite. It's in the back.
and we spend a lot of time, writing and jingling about with different chords. And Rich is very underrated as a guitarist. He's a great guitarist. He comes up with different chords that feel good, but you don't feel like you've heard them before. But maybe you have. But I get a lot of enjoyment out of playing with Rich.
And Maryann, what's it like for you to come in there and just with the vocals, just being either behind Rich or behind Mo with the singing?
It's actually fun. It was just, they were making the album The Other Side a couple years ago, and I was there. I'm a holistic health practitioner by nature, so I was doing all of their food and dietary needs. And I was there delivering it to the studio, and they were making a song called Skywriter, and I was humming something, and I didn't realize anybody was in the room with me, and the engineer was in there. And he turned around and goes, I think you're the answer to the problem they're having now. And then that's how it started. They brought me out in the studio. They treated me like family right away. And then now Richie and Mo, the way they wrote the songs, they're bringing me out of the shadows from being a background vocalist to doing some lead vocals with them.
Yeah. The problem was me that day. I was having problems hitting a high note, and Maryann was singing that in the control room. So she got the gig that way. But all good. That's
usually how it works, man.
Yeah.
I was, having been in the kind of scenario of being a married couple, I also hope there's no problem with you stealing the microphone away from her like that.
You saw that.
I get used to it.
That's
he
right.
Moves away, I can bash him. We're not doing that though.
Wait, you said New Jersey? Are there going to be fucking problems? No bashing, no head bashing.
Never any problems here.
Okay, I got my Goodfellas shirt around here somewhere. We don't want to go that route. No sanitation departments here. On all over the place. And one of the things I like about this album, and I'm not sure if it was part of the writing process or not, but overall, very optimistic, and I love the energy on it. How do those two themes come into the writing process?
Oh yeah, energy always comes into the writing process. I mean, we started off with the mission to Mars, and that gave the energy for the whole thing. It just felt great. I mean, it's not really. It's maybe not Nektar like, but it is because it's different. Every album we've ever done has been different, and this is no exception. And this has the rock and roll beginning, and it goes into a space. It goes into space, and it comes out back out to the end. You have the option, if you're on the radio, just cutting it after the song, but we like it just the way it is. So we decided to put that at the beginning of the album. And the other one that we really liked for the start of a side, if you like, was One Day High, One Day Low. And it was, do we put One Day High, One Day Low in the beginning and Mission to Mars on the second side? And we said, no, we're going to jump in at the deep end. We're going to put Mission to Mars in the beginning, because that tells the story. You go through the story of Mission to Mars, you go through the story of Long Lost Sunday, you come to One Day High, One Day Low, and then it finishes out with I'll Let You In. And you could switch it if you've got the album. You could just switch it, play side 2 first, but you don't get the story that way. You know, all our albums have stories.
They're journeys, and you sequence them for a reason. And getting back to what you said earlier, with whether we're old school or we're classic, I love that vinyl's coming back where you're part of the album process with what you guys are thinking as you create it. You've got your side 1, you want a Mission to Mars, those 2 songs that 16, 17 minutes, you get up, you flip it over, the story continues, and you're immersed in the music. And I love that you've done that, and just keeping that in mind.
Have you heard the vinyl?
No, I have to imagine right now, but the nice thing about, I've only listened streaming, which gives you the album experience all right there, not having to sit up, get up and turn it over. But there's just for me, there's something that I prefer about the album experience, because you are part of it, and it goes back to, that's how I was introduced to music back in the 70s. Was you listen to tracks 1 through 4, 5, however many there are in a side, and you get up. You're a part of the music experience. It's not and look, music is what it is for certain people. And there's days where I just want to have a disposable thing. I'll go on to the next track. But the album experience is so important to me as a music fan. Yeah. And I like the journey that you get to go on that the band lays out for you.
I agree. I totally agree with you. Well, we'll make sure you get a vinyl copy.
Well, I got to talk to Chipster and the gang over there. And Deco's been great with us so far. We've had a lot of your label mates on with us, so it's been. I think it's one of those things to ask, and maybe I shall receive. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, you certainly will.
Get one of
will.
each. You should get a CD and a vinyl, so you can listen to them both from how I've explained it to you.
Well, there's one problem with that, Mo. I don't have a functioning CD player anymore. My car's, the one in my car went kaput, so I'm a streaming guy in the car and an LP guy at home.
Well, that'll do. That's fine.
I get enough of the compression and everything with the streaming stuff. So yeah,
you don't get the compression on the album, but you do on the streaming. Yeah.
Deco has been great to us as well. You know, they're just a great bunch of people between Bruce and Charlie and Chip. Just great folks to us, and really doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, you'll get no complaints from me. Everyone who has come through and been guests of ours here on the show, the Deco roster kicks ass. Totally digging it.
And Robin as well. Robin too. Robin is great.
We're not going to leave anybody out. Heck no. No. We won't do that. And now, Mo, you mentioned earlier with, of course, with Ryche Maryann, you're up north of him and in Jersey, and mixing in the mastering going on in Australia, and also with it being done during the pandemic and everything. What was it like for you to create an album with just people in all different parts of the globe?
It's no different to what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, the advent of Zoom and FaceTime and Skype has just changed the whole world, because you're able to feel like you're there, we're used to it. We Zoom a lot.
Yeah,
So,
it's not like, you know, you're in your spot, you lay down your tracks, and you mail them up to the gang in Jersey or wherever anybody is in the globe. You can just do it all right there,
right
in your room, and it all comes together.
Yeah, you just have to. You have to. When it's time to play with the whole band, I go to New Jersey because we've got the rehearsal studios in Ryche Maryann's house in the basement, and it's a great place to play. And we've got all the gear set up there, so we just jam it out. I know when we did Mission to Mars, Kendall came up with a few pieces that we really liked, and we pushed him to do it in a certain way. And the beginning, the orchestral part in the front of One Day High, One Day Low, well, that was powerful. And we dropped it onto the track and just moved it so that it was right where we wanted it. And it's really powerful. So you get that powerful start, and now you're into another riff, and it's on its way. It drags you through the whole thing,
Let me say something. Although when we record, we're all in the same room. We're in a big old analog room, so we don't do file sharing. It all goes down to Pro Tools eventually. Although we can go to tape, we go down to Pro Tools, but it's an old Helios board that Zeppelin used from an old English studio. It's a big wooden room, like an old power station kind of a vibe. And we get together and we just slam it. We slam all the tracks live. We did all these tracks in 2 days. Less the overdubs. I took guitars home and we mess around with things that way. But the basic tracks are all live, and it's the Nektar way. Nektar loves live because you just can't file share all the time, man. You got to you have to slam it out live, and we did. We did it very quickly. We did 2 days of rehearsal, 2 days in the studio, and overdubs, a day of vocals, and a mix. So we did it like very quickly, but that live element was really important to us.
I love hearing that, because that again takes you back to just the classic way of recording an album, and just the energy. It's just different when you get a band, especially a band renowned for just such a great live presentation, and it just makes it better. And and the spontaneity of 2 days here and 1 day there. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
And what's great,
and it definitely comes across. And what's it been like playing the songs live?
Awesome.
Oh, you tell.
You know something? The Nektar's been around for 55 years now, and Remember the Future is the biggest album for us. This is about the same length, maybe a couple of minutes light of Remember the Future. But when we were putting the set list up in June and August and September, we went to a headliner festival. We decided that we were going to play the entire album, the entire Mission to Mars. So we put Mission to Mars together, and then we put it on a piece of paper or on a screen, I don't remember. And we started filling in something from each album until we got a set. The set was about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and 15. But we aim for about 2 hours, but it generally goes over. And we were getting as much reaction to the new music as we did to all the other music. I mean, they'd never heard it before because it wasn't out. And we said, this is new music. This is Mission to Mars. And we played it, and we were getting standing ovations for music they'd never heard before.
You have no idea how that makes me feel, because as someone who, again, loves music, and a band that I love is still out there making new music, I think it's a disservice. I think here comes the Catholic in me. I think people who like take those bathroom breaks during the new songs should be ashamed of themselves. There's a band you love, a band that has new stuff, and you don't want to hear it. And so for you to say that people are getting standing O's with new stuff, I feel so good to hear.
And what's really great with Mission to Mars, you're asking about the live shows. For Mission to Mars, there is a 3D light show that Jay Petsko has put together. And we give everybody those old, remember the nostalgic glasses, the white glasses, 3D glasses, and you have a red lens and a blue lens. We give that to everybody so they can enjoy the show. But when we're looking out at the audience, it's completely nostalgic watching everybody. And you like see them dodging something, they're like moving all around as we're singing the song. So it's a lot of fun. It really is.
You are running through half a forest.
These are the glasses.
There they are. See, I could have brought my my Captain America ones that I had from one of the Captain America movies. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, when we were in, we played the Neen Festival in England, and we headlined there, and there was this huge tent, and there was one band on one side and one band on the other side, and you play the one band, and while they were playing, you were setting up, and then you had a 10-minute break, and you were into the next music. They had, I think, about 60 bands. It was intense. And we were the last band on, being the headliner. And I said to Joel, who does our sound, I said, Joel, each side had its own PA. See if you can link them together. So we linked them together and we played in quad with 3D. It was awesome. It was intense.
Awesome.
Blow your face out, as Mr. Wolf used to say with the Jay Giles band.
Yeah.
And that's right. I got that on vinyl, folks. I may turn that up later today. I don't know. Drop the needle on that four-sider. Yes. Now, very briefly, I want to go back to the covers collections that you guys did a few years ago, where you did Rush, Floyd, The Doors. God, there's so many. Traffic, some great selections from that. First off, what inspired you to do that and just release them as singles? And then also, what I thought that was so unique and what I loved about it was you've got the song with the lyrics, and then you have an instrumental version. So, what was the impetus behind doing that?
I wasn't involved with that. None of us were.
Oh, well, then guess what? We're not. I'm going to take this out of the show.
Yeah.
We'll just the magic of post. There we go.
Right.
So that's Nektar, and this is where those things on Wikipedia come in handy that I didn't look at properly. Where you see the bars along the bottom here, there, not there.
Mo, tell him the story. Tell him the story how we met and why all that happened and how we got back together.
Let's fake it. I mean, unless it'll really offend somebody, let's just say that you did do those. No, that could probably get us into some trouble with Deco. I don't want to do that.
We met Rich in the studio when we were doing Magic as a Child.
Mm-hmm.
And I invited him down to our house in Chatham, New Jersey. And we jammed and he did some concerts with us and we wrote some music. And then Roy came back and I left as well. And so nothing for 26 years. Then we did Nearfest in New Jersey, and we sold Nearfest out. It was about 3,000 people in 45 minutes. The band had not been around for 26 years. And we did a big gig in Germany. We did a big gig in London, and we did the Adirondacks. And then I went back to my business. I was in business at that time. And then about 2018, Ron called me and he said, do you want to put the band back together? Well, Taff had died and Roy had died. Actually, we didn't know Taff had died at that time, but he had. And my first phone call was to Rich. And I said, hey, Rich, are you into, putting a band together? And he said, sure. So he and I and Ron went to a studio in Trenton, New Jersey, John Kerwin's studio. And we spent a lot of time there in the next 2 years. And it just felt good from day one. It felt, we've got something here, And so we put a band together. I got Randy Dembo, who used to play with Nektar after I left. And I figured I didn't think I was going to go out touring. I didn't expect to do that. And I figured we'll play some stuff with two basses, which we did. And sometimes he played 12-string guitar. And then when it comes time to go out, I'll step out and he'll step in. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. I enjoyed the music so much, I decided I was going to go on the road. And we brought in Kendall Scott from Ryche's band, Flying Dreams, and he fit perfectly. The whole thing felt good. I mean, I called Mick, broke it up. Do you want to do a light show again? And he said, sure, why not? So we put this whole thing together, and we recorded the other side. And the other side was put together as an album. It's a double album.
Mm-hmm.
But the musical journey was put together as if it was on an album. So you had the first side, the second side, the third side, the fourth side, you know. And it went over really well, you know, considering we came out with a new album with 8 tracks on it. And everything went really well. And fast forward the 3 years that we spent writing Mission to Mars, and then we worked through Mission to Mars, and we used another drummer because Ron, I don't know if you know this, but Ron Howden died in September, and very quickly Ron came to the studio where we were playing, and he. I said, come on, listen to some of the new music. So he came downstairs and we were playing some of the new stuff. And he said, give me a thumb drive and I'll put something together. So I gave him a thumb drive. That was a Sunday. Monday night, he had a brain bleed and never made it past Friday. Friday, I guess they pulled the plug. And that was tough for me. I mean, you know, we've been together for 60 years. So it's tough when you've played. I'd only really played with Ron. And we did a cattle call for drummers, and the second guy in was Jay Dittamo. Jay also played with Rich and Kendall in Flying Dreams, so they figured it would fit, and I didn't know him, but I felt right away there's a connection here. He obviously had listened to the stuff we played. He listened to Ron, and he blended how he played and how Ron plays together, and it felt very familiar for me immediately. Right. Now we've been on tour and playing out live. I double down on that. It feels really powerful. I think we've got our rock and roll roots back, and that's really important, you know.
I can only imagine what it's like playing. Mission to Mars is just that's just a great rock and roll song. I can just imagine what that's like to be playing on stage, getting that done live. And Rich, what's it been like for you? It sounds like you're the glue who's kind of bringing all this together. What's it been like for you to bring Derek into the fold and just carry on the Nektar legacy?
Well, you know, when Ron called me, both Mo and Ron in 2018, the music that's on the other side, the album before Mission to Mars, was actually written during those sessions in 1978. So I'm thinking it took 40 years for this guy to call me to get the band together and to actually record this record. But I jumped on the chance, and it was magical ever since. And you talk about Tony Soprano. Yeah, he can't leave this. Mo can't leave this band. You know, he just loves it too much, and we love him too much. And we have a bright future ahead of us. But yeah, it feels great. I get to be who I am. Mo and the rest of the band get to be who they are, and we all get together very organically, and we really rock it out live. It's a catharsis live. It's a beautiful feeling live. But the glue, yeah, between Mo and I, we're holding it all together.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, we lead and everybody follows.
Well, I have yet to have the chance to see you live, and I know on the website, the latest update, there's nothing going on live-wise. When's the band going to be getting back on the road?
Probably towards the end of this year, and then again in March, April. Where are you?
I'm in Phoenix area, so Arizona. I've been known to go down to Tucson I love the Rialto Theater. Plenty places to play here in Phoenix.
Phoenix is on our dance card.
It is.
We've not booked it yet, but every time we talk about going further west, Phoenix is mentioned. So
I will keep my finger on the pulse with Chip on that one. And
we
and
played.
Jim's up in the Pacific Northwest. He's a Seattle area guy. So we're
Yeah, I'm in Seattle, so if you can make it up here to the Northwest, we can always use some good rockers up here, man.
That's always good. We were due to play there in Seattle at the festival when COVID hit.
CPROG in Seattle
Right.
was, and COVID hit, and it just blew apart.
That took us out, man. We had a whole tour planned and never happened. In Phoenix, there was a place we played with the original band that the stage went round in a circle.
Celebrity. Yep.
That's what I remember about Phoenix.
My guess is you would have been promoted there by a former guest here on the show, Mr. Danny Zalesko.
Oh, man,
If DZP rings a bell. So getting a little plug in there for the local and beyond legend, Danny. So, yeah.
Well, if Danny wants us to play there, he should get in touch with me.
Well, he and Chip have a great relationship through the years. So I'm sure, you're playing Phoenix. I have a feeling Danny's going to be involved somehow. So, well, I know I'm looking forward to it. Mission to Mars, folks. Make sure you check that out. I've been having it scroll there on the bottom. Best place to get it would be at their website, which is nektarsmusic.com, or you can get it at Deco Entertainment and your favorite brick and mortar stores, or just your favorite e-commerce stores as well. Yeah. And I do have a question for you. I know that when we had Steve Luongo on recently, and I know that Deco is doing some different packages with the Rarities Oxzoom that Steve has been behind with the Ox, the John Entwistle collections. Can you get any special little gift bundles over at Deco with Mission to Mars?
Yes, there's a signed autographed picture and a T-shirt and the album, or the CD or the album. It's an interesting way of doing it. I mean, we signed quite a lot of pictures, so I'm sure that they'll go. I like Deco. They're a young, enthusiastic company. Charlie comes to a lot of shows and brings his lovely wife along with him. And Robin's great. I think she's sort of the glue to Deco as well. She does a lot of the stuff behind the scenes stuff that you don't see, All
right, folks. Well, I'm never going to dissuade somebody from going to a brick and mortar, but forget the e-commerce stores. Go to decoentertainment.com or go to nektarsmusic.com to get your Mission to Mars.
Yeah,
and beyond. So
wherever you want to get it is good. It's everywhere.
Well, we'll steer them in certain directions, but yes, ultimately wherever you got to get it. I'm loving it. Again, folks, make sure you check out Mission to Mars from Nektar, Derek, Mo, Moore, Ryche Chlanda Maryann Castello. Thank you so much for joining us here on All Over the Place. Welcome back anytime, and I'm looking forward. I'm going to keep my ear to the ground for the Phoenix shows and for Jim up in Seattle as well.
Sounds awesome, man.
Nice to see you, Jim.
Looking forward to seeing you.
I'll be there towards the front. Yeah, no, I won't let the Mr. Stubing balding spot blind you from behind. We don't want that.
We'll remember you from the Fun Sanity. That's what we're going to remember.
That's right. I'll have T-shirts for you. We'll do a T-shirt swap.
Yeah, I'll wear one.
The Fun Sanity never ends live either. So again, folks, thanks for listening to All Over the Place. I want to thank Derek and Rich and Maryann again for joining us here. On behalf of Jim, we appreciate you sharing, liking, and subscribing. And we'll be back real soon here on All Over the Place. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All Over the Place, where the Fun Sanity never ends.